All right, so get this. Today, we're diving into the world of transgender dating.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah, and get this. Our source material is actually like a proposed podcast script.
Really?
Yeah, called Love Beyond Labels. Kind of meta, right? But it's not just like, basic dating advice. It goes way deeper.
Okay.
Talking about inclusivity, respect,
I like it.
challenging those societal norms we love to unpack.
Definitely. It sounds like it gets right into some of the complexities of transgender dating. I mean, even just defining transgender.
Yeah.
It's not just a simple definition. It's like this really diverse umbrella.
So, unpack that umbrella a little bit.
Yeah.
Why is that definition so important when we're talking about dating?
Well, the term, it encompasses a whole bunch of identities and experiences, right? Like you've got individuals who have medically transitioned, others who've socially transitioned,
Right.
some who identify as non-binary. It's not like a one-size-fits-all kind of thing.
Yeah.
And in the context of dating, it's really important to understand that diversity, because it means, okay,
Approaching each person as an individual, not some stereotype.
got it. So ditch those preconceived notions right from the start.
Exactly.
But this script doesn't shy away from the challenges either.
Yeah.
It talks about stigma, fetishization, safety concerns.
Right.
It's a pretty stark picture.
Yeah, and these are important issues that we can't just, brush aside.
No.
Let's take, for example, fetishization.
Okay.
The script, it describes it as like being treated as this object of desire
Okay.
just because of your trans identity. Imagine constantly wondering, are they interested in me?
Yeah.
Or just because I'm trans?
Yeah.
It's dehumanizing.
Yeah.
And it can really mess with someone's self-worth.
It's going to be so hard to deal with that emotional toll,
Absolutely. And then on top of that, you've got the very real safety concerns
Yeah.
many trans individuals face. The script doesn't try to downplay the fear of violence or discrimination,
No.
which can be a daily reality for some people, unfortunately. There's this one line that really got to me. It says, I always wonder when to tell someone I'm trans. If I wait too long, will they feel betrayed?
Oh, wow.
But if I say it too soon, will it scare them off? It's like it
Yeah.
really captures that inner struggle
That.
of wanting to be open, authentic,
Yeah.
but also fearing rejection.
It's so poignant, right? It highlights how for a lot of trans people, dating isn't just about finding love.
Right.
It's about this whole minefield of potential prejudice and misunderstanding. Like
Yeah.
every interaction has this extra weight of, will they accept me?
It makes you realize how much courage it takes to just put yourself out there,
Oh, absolutely.
to be vulnerable
Yeah,
when the stakes are that high.
totally. And that's why the script emphasizes respect and authenticity.
Right.
It's so important. And it's not just about being nice. It's about recognizing each person's inherent dignity and worth.
Regardless of their gender identity. And it sounds like the script gets pretty specific about what that respect actually looks like in practice.
It does. It breaks it down, starting with something as basic as pronouns.
Pronouns. I mean, that seems pretty simple.
It is simple,
Yeah.
but it's also incredibly powerful. Think about it. Using someone's correct pronouns affirms their identity,
Yeah.
shows that you see them, acknowledge them for who they are.
So it's not just about, grammar.
No.
It's about respecting someone's lived experience.
Exactly. And on the flip side, using the wrong pronouns can be incredibly invalidating.
Yeah.
Like you're erasing who they are.
Right.
The script really makes it clear how those little slip-ups can have a huge impact.
It's a good reminder for all of us to think about our language and how it affects other people,
Definitely.
even unintentionally.
Mm-hmm.
But the script doesn't stop at pronouns,
It doesn't.
right? It also talks about finding that balance between, being upfront about your identity
Yeah,
and not oversharing or being too invasive.
that's right. It encourages open communication. Mm-hmm.
But it acknowledges that there's a fine line between curiosity and being intrusive.
Yeah.
It's about respecting boundaries
Okay.
and realizing that getting to know someone takes time and trust.
So, give us some examples. What kind of questions would cross that line?
Well, imagine asking someone about their surgical history
Oh, yeah?
or transition details right off the bat.
Yeah, no.
That's a no-go.
Too personal.
Way too personal. Those are things that should only be discussed if the person is completely comfortable sharing.
So it's all about reading the room,
Exactly.
being sensitive to the other person's comfort level,
Yes.
focusing on that genuine connection rather than satisfying your own curiosity.
Exactly. And that's a good lesson for any relationship, really.
Right. not just ones involving trans individuals.
Right.
And speaking of broader applications, the script also encourages us to, like, examine our own biases.
It does.
Which I think is such a powerful message for everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
No matter who they're dating. We all have these internalized assumptions about gender and beauty.
Right.
That society has kind of ingrained in us, you know?
Totally.
And it's so important to unpack those and look at how they might be affecting our perceptions and preferences.
So, like, self-reflection is key
Yeah.
before you even step into the dating world.
Absolutely.
Think about what you find attractive, where those ideas came from, whether they're actually serving you.
Exactly. It's about being honest with yourself and questioning those ingrained beliefs.
Right.
Are you attracted to someone for who they are?
Yeah.
Or are you trying to fit them to some preconceived mold?
Deep stuff. But ultimately, isn't all of this self-awareness crucial for any healthy relationship?
Absolutely.
No matter who you're dating.
Open communication, honesty, a willingness to challenge your assumptions. That's the foundation of any strong connection.
It sounds like this script is just packed with valuable insights.
It is.
That go way beyond just transgender dating.
Yeah.
It's about being more self-aware, cultivating more authentic connections with everyone.
I agree. It's really compelling. It makes you think differently about love and relationships.
Right.
And even how you see the world.
Chrissy, before we get too philosophical here,
Okay.
let's take a step back and talk about the positives.
Right.
I mean, despite the challenges, the script doesn't just dwell on the negatives, right?
Definitely not. It really emphasizes that love knows no bounds. You know, trans individuals are finding love and happiness, just like anyone else.
Right.
It's about celebrating those successes and, you know, highlighting that resilience.
It's a good reminder that despite the hurdles, love can still flourish.
It is.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is.
So how does the script frame those positive outcomes?
Well, it showcases a bunch of different experiences,
Okay.
you know, from thriving marriages to really deep friendships. Emphasizing that connection can take many forms. It challenges this idea that dating someone trans has to be intimidating or exotic.
Right.
It really comes down to the same core values, you know? Respect, honesty, empathy.
Right.
Which are essential for any healthy relationship.
It's about seeing the person, not the label.
Yes.
Recognizing that shared humanity.
Exactly.
That connects us all. I love that.
It's easy to get caught up in the differences.
Right.
But ultimately, we're all just looking for connection and belonging.
Absolutely. I think this is a good place to pause.
Yeah. Sounds
Let our listeners absorb all this.
Yeah, we've covered a lot.
Yeah, there's still so much to unpack.
A lot to unpack.
We'll be right back to delve even deeper into this fascinating topic. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Welcome back. So glad we can keep exploring this Love Beyond Labels script. It does such a great job of presenting this like nuanced perspective on transgender dating.
It really does. And I think one of the things I appreciate most is how it emphasizes that dating someone trans doesn't have to be this like big, scary, unusual experience.
Right. It brings us back to those core values we were discussing earlier, you know? Mutual respect, shared experiences, open communication.
Right.
The foundation of any healthy relationship, really.
Exactly. It's about seeing the person,
Yes.
not the label.
That's it. And that's where this idea of love beyond labels really clicks. It's like recognizing that love isn't about checking boxes or fitting into society's mold, you know?
Totally.
It's about connecting with another person on a deeper level, appreciating their unique qualities, embracing their individuality.
I love that. It's about celebrating those differences.
Yes.
Not shying away from them.
Exactly. And I think that's so powerful, especially today when we're constantly bombarded with these rigid definitions of what love and relationships should look like.
So true. Speaking of powerful messages, the script's closing thoughts really resonated with me. That whole idea that everyone deserves love and that acceptance is crucial for relationships to thrive.
It's such a beautiful sentiment, right? It gets to the heart of what we're trying to do here, like creating a world where love truly has no boundary.
Breaking down barriers, fostering genuine connection.
Exactly.
But how do we actually put that into practice?
Well, it starts with each of us, you know, challenging our own assumptions, learning more about gender and identity, approaching others with compassion and empathy.
Yeah.
It's a journey, for sure.
It's definitely a journey, but a worthwhile one.
Absolutely.
You know, what's really struck me throughout this discussion is the resilience and courage of trans individuals navigating the dating world.
It's truly inspiring, isn't it? I mean, they face so many obstacles, so much prejudice and misunderstanding,
Yeah.
but they keep seeking connection to love and be loved.
It's amazing.
It really speaks to the human spirit's capacity for love and hope.
It does. So well said. You know, as we wrap up this deep dive into love beyond labels, I'm left feeling hopeful, but also like there's work to be done.
I agree. We all have a role to play in creating a more inclusive and accepting world.
It starts with those simple things, right?
Yeah.
Educating ourselves, challenging our own biases, speaking out against discrimination, supporting those who are marginalized.
And remembering that at the end of the day, we're all just human beings.
Right.
Searching for connection and belonging.
Beautifully said. As I was thinking about this script and our conversation, a question popped into my head.
Okay.
If love truly knows no bounds,
Yeah.
like the script suggests, what other labels or assumptions could be holding us back from truly connecting with others?
That's a great question. And it's one we should all be thinking about. We live in a world where we're always categorizing and labeling people, right? Often based on surface stuff, like race, religion, social class, ability. And those labels, they create artificial barriers.
Totally.
They stop us from seeing our shared humanity.
So give us some examples. What are some of those labels that might be holding us back?
Well, think about socioeconomic status, for instance. We might assume that someone who's wealthy is entitled or out of touch, or that someone struggling financially is lazy or irresponsible. And those assumptions, they prevent us from truly seeing the individual, understanding their circumstances.
That's so true. And I think the same goes for religious beliefs.
Oh, absolutely. We judge people based on their faith all the time. Instead of getting to know them as individuals.
Right. We make assumptions about their values or character just because of their religion.
Exactly. Without understanding their personal beliefs and experiences, which can lead to so much prejudice and discrimination.
Right. And it blocks us from forming meaningful connections.
It does. It's about recognizing that our differences don't have to divide us.
Right.
They can actually enrich our lives and broaden our perspectives.
It's about moving beyond those labels and seeing each other as fellow travelers on this journey we call life.
Beautifully said.
This has been such a thought-provoking conversation.
It has.
And I think our listeners have a lot to think about now.
I hope so.
So are you ready to wrap up this deep dive and offer some final thoughts?
I am. Let's do it.
All right. Welcome back to the last part of our deep dive on love beyond labels. You know, we've been talking about how this proposed script tackles transgender dating, but it's really about so much more than that, right?
It really is. It's like it opens up this whole conversation about all the labels and assumptions that can prevent us from really connecting with each other.
We were just talking about socioeconomic status and religion.
Right.
But I bet our listeners can think of a ton more examples.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, what about age?
Oh, yeah.
You know, why do we assume someone older won't get our pop culture references?
Right.
Or that someone younger doesn't have enough life experience?
Exactly. And let's not forget about physical abilities and disabilities. We tend to focus on what people can't do instead of appreciating their strengths and perspectives.
It's like we're always looking for reasons to exclude people.
It's true. And it's a shame because we miss out on so much when we do that.
Totally.
Think about all the amazing friendships, the collaborations, the love stories that never even get a chance because we're stuck in these limited ways of thinking.
It's like we're all living in these tiny little echo chambers surrounded by people just like us.
Exactly. And that's not how we grow, right? It's through encountering difference, challenging our own assumptions, that we really broaden our horizons and develop empathy.
It all goes back to that idea that our shared humanity is bigger than all these categories.
Absolutely. We all have hopes and dreams and fears and insecurities. We're all just trying to figure out this crazy thing called life. And we need each other.
So what can our listeners do? How can they break free from these limiting labels?
I think it starts with curiosity.
Okay.
Be open to learning about people who are different from you. Ask questions, listen with an open mind, and be willing to challenge your own assumptions.
Approach every interaction with humility.
Yeah.
A willing day to learn.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to mess up.
Right.
We're all learning and growing. What matters is that we're trying to be better, more inclusive, to see the world in a more expansive way.
That's a great way to put it. You know, this whole conversation has been such a powerful reminder.
It has.
That love really knows no bounds.
It doesn't.
And that same idea applies to human connection in general.
It does. When we let go of those labels, we open ourselves up to so much connection and possibility.
I love that. Well, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Okay.
But before we go, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought.
Right.
If you're feeling inspired to break free from those limiting labels, start small. Strike up a conversation with someone you wouldn't normally talk to.
Yeah.
Ask about their life, their experiences.
Yeah.
You might be surprised by what you learn.
Might.
And you just might make a new connection that enriches your life in ways you never expected.
What a wonderful way to end this episode.
Thanks for joining us on this journey of exploration and discovery.
And thank you for sharing your insights. It's been a pleasure.
And to our listeners, until next time, keep diving deep.
And keep those hearts open.
See you.